How you can build a seven-figure tax-free retirement. We all know that taxes are our biggest expense. And the other part is when we invest in 401ks or IRAs. And even if you put your money with a financial advisor, there's still taxes no matter what. So I wanted to share ways that you could generate a seven-figure tax-free retirement. So that way, when you do retire, you can thrive and not just survive. The first thing we have to be aware of is we need to have loss protection. Now, loss protection is critical because as you'll see here on this chart, this is showing you some numbers as to what happens with your money when you're in a variable account, which is pretty much any stock market, bond market, because it goes up and down, that how every time you take a step back, it eats away at your money. And then you have on this side, this is what it looks like when you have loss protection within a market. As you can see, it's critical because you don't take losses, but you still capitalize on gains. And at the end, on both charts, you see which number looks better to you. Which one would you rather have? The second step is to capitalize on indexing strategies. Indexing is very unique. It doesn't actually participate in the market. And it does typically, most index accounts, I would say 95% of them, have a reset annually from your anniversary date, blah, blah, blah. But we'll keep it simple. So every year you can reset where you want your money on as far as different index accounts, and you get to start all over. So as you see here on this graph, right, it's up, down, the zigzag. Every year you get to reset and capitalize on those gains. So instead of taking a loss when the years go down, you don't take losses because you're in an index. But now, because you get to reset at that year, like say 2008, the crash, when we skyrocketed back up, you got to capitalize and participate in all of those gains because they buy options. That's why the reset works. All the way back up, and then you lock that in. That's your money. You don't lose that money ever again. At the next year, same thing. If the market goes back down, you're safe. You have loss protection. But the year after, when you do your reset and the market's on a ride way back up, we got a big bull market, you are capitalizing on those gains. When it comes to the participation strategy, right, the percentage of where you're at within it, as you see here as an example, the pace setter index, right? In 2003, it generated a return of 9.87%. But when you get to add these participation buffs to it, it's basically a multiplier. The actual return that was provided to your account was 23.2%. This is why indexing is so powerful, and understanding how these participation numbers work and reviewing your strategy every year with your agent. If you're not doing that, or your agent's not doing that with you, you're getting a disservice. You should be taking care of that and look at all of these numbers so you can capitalize on all the gains. And let's take a look here. So, I mean, you see, because of that participation rate, now the average return in 20 years, for 20 years, has been just under 16%. I don't know about you, but that's a really, really good average return on a 20-year span. The last thing is you need to house your money in an IUL. So that's an indexed universal life policy. And the reason we do this is because it gets growth tax-free. And when you get that lifetime income rider on it, you take loans from the policy tax-free. So you don't have to pay any taxes. And your 401k, your IRAs, they will never provide a lifetime income rider. Once that money runs out, you're out. But in an IUL, you get this rider and you have income guaranteed until you're 120 years old. And the number is all based on how much you contribute and the growth and everything else. So here's a real quick chart on how IULs look when they're illustrated. So understand, I showed you guys that the rates are bananas, right? But this is going to only show you at 5.3%. And it's done this way because of compliance. We're not allowed to show what the actual returns are. We can only show what they will allow us to here. So this is an example. A 28-year-old starts putting in $7,800 a year. I use this number because this is actually less than most people's car payments anymore. So if you contribute this to your IUL and only get that 5.3% return, As you see here, by time you hit the age of 65, you have 7 figures cash value in that account for you. And it is also going to provide you a tax-free lifetime income of $71,000. So if you want to grasp what that would be like in your 401k, you should just add 27% to that. So that's close to just under 6 figures a year for the rest of your life. So that is why IULs are powerful and why the tax-free growth and access you get to them is so, so powerful. Hey, if you got a lot out of this, please be sure to subscribe to this channel so you can keep learning how to stop losing money. And if you want to figure out what this looks like for you, please hit me up. You can send me an email, comment below, we'll connect, and we'll see what we can do to make sure you stop losing money.